Site www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design is a creative boutique specializing in original artwork, design, and apparel. With 4 locations in Lakewood, Avon, Willoughby, and Kent, you can visit their store and check out their collections including Cleveland sports teams, Ohio colleges, and much more. Use the code ONTAP10 for 10% off your order. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.
Okay, then we'll go back.
Tonight at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm. Are your auto insurance rates continuing to increase? Do you have a professional that you work with who can explain your coverage and assist in protecting your unique situation? If not, contact Raymond Felton State Farm for a free quote on your home, auto, renters, life, or business insurance needs. They are there to put the customer's needs first. Give them a call at 234-284-2996 or online at www.rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand-and-built leather goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design is a creative boutique specializing in original artwork, design, and apparel. With 4 locations in Lakewood, Avon, Willoughby, and Kent, you can visit their store and check out their collections including Cleveland sports teams, Ohio colleges, and much more. Use the code ONTAP10 for 10% off your order. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.
All right, and you'll talk about. Oh no, you're not. You're not going. Oh yeah, there it is. Are you going to go over the Highland or the Hudson Highland game then? I'll play the video for that when we do talk about, it, or we can all.
You don't have any. I don't have any for that game.
Oh, he didn't have it on there.
No.
Okay, I'll do that then because it's on mine. It's on page 3.
Oh, I didn't look at page 3.
That's all right.
Maybe that's why. I'm like, oh, where's another page? Oh yeah, there it is. And welcome everybody to Sports on Tap. This is the Sports on Tap high school football show presented by Ray Felton, State Farm Insurance. My name is Ed Dick, alongside our co-hosts Rob Troutman, Dr. Hoops himself, Noah Jacobson, Josh Jeffy, and Professor Hype Sean Duffy are out on assignment for today. You are watching this live on our YouTube channel, Sports on Tap at SOT Podcast, where this and all past and future broadcasts are and will be archived. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications of all future broadcasts. You can also follow us on Twitter, or X, at SOT Podcast, on Facebook at Sports on Tap, and on Threads at SOT_podcast. And also, always check out our website, sportsontapodcast.com, for information about the show. Reach out directly to us at sportsontapodcast@gmail.com for questions, comments, feedback, and the like. And of course, make sure you check out every week we will have our Player of the Week contest, sponsored again by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance, which we will get to here in a little bit. Gentlemen, we've been spending all summer talking to coaches, really getting ready for this exact show, and now it's here. I'm extremely excited to talk high school football in season again. It doesn't get much better than this.
I know, it's just crazy. I mean, what happened? Where did everything go? You know, the summer went pretty quick. We had a lot of coaches on. We're able to talk to a lot of coaches, break down some of these teams, and the season's here. And, you know, a fun first week. I thought we had some really great games. You know, some games got out of hand, but we'll go over all those and have a little fun. But excited to talk to a few players later in the show. And week one's underway.
And that's
yeah, Rod, I mean, this was an exciting start to the season for week one, and it's crazy that we're already in football season. But yeah, some really good games for week one in that, and it's just getting started. I mean, we got a whole lot more coverage to bring you here at Sports on Tap, and I can't wait for the season and the rest of you guys.
That's right.
And so with that, we will be, as we normally do, we will go through our conferences. We cover the Suburban League, the Southwestern Conference, the Greater Cleveland Conference, and the Great Lakes Conference. And we are also going to be joined by a couple of guests today. Hudson running back Ian Ludewig, and also North Ridgeville H-back, kind of do everything player Charlie Steinmetz is going to join us. Both of them participated in big wins for their teams over the weekend. So we're looking forward to catching up with them, talking a little bit about their season so far, what their offseason has been looking like, and what they're looking forward to for the rest of the year. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go, you guys have always been used to us doing the Greater Cleveland Conference first. We're going to switch it up a little bit. The Suburban League will take precedence going forward. So we're going to talk about the Suburban League first. Then we'll go to the Southwestern Conference, the Greater Cleveland Conference, and the Great Lakes Conference. So with that, Sean did a great job, as always, with our wonderful PowerPoint, which you're going to be able to see here in just a second.
Yeah, he always does a nice job on that, you know, with we get the scores, and then at the end you'll see the week 2 schedule coming up. There you go. There's the Suburban League.
And there we have it. That is the Suburban League American Division week 1 scores are up right there. You'll be able to see it. It was kind of a weird week because there were a lot of crossovers in the two conferences. So, well, that one's supposed to happen. So we're going to start first off with the Suburban League. I will talk a little bit about the Suburban League, and then Rob's going to jump in, and he's going to go roll right into the Southwestern Conference. Our first game on the docket, the Medina Bees. I can't do the same thing Sean does with Brexville. They took on Stowe Monroe Falls. Noah's going to have a lot more information about this in his recap, but just for Stowe Monroe Falls, they were led by quarterback Jacob Harrington. He completed 22 of 37 passes for 236 yards and a touchdown. He also added 30 yards on the ground, and he also had a touchdown. Wide receiver Dayton Keeling had 12 receptions for 143 yards. Unfortunately, not enough. Stowe falls to Medina 48-18. And again, Noah will talk more about this game in his recaps a little bit later. Nordonia took on Bedford, and talking with a big fan of the Nordonia sports program today of all days. Nordonia had the opportunity to kind of blow the doors off here, but they had some mistakes, especially in the red zone. Kept the game a lot closer than maybe it should have been, but Nordonia had a 26-yard rushing touchdown, and they scored three. They kicked 3 field goals to secure the victory there. Nordonia with a 1-0 or with a 16-8 victory over Bedford, improving to 1-0. Amherst and Copley. We will talk about this as for our the Southwestern recap. This was one of our 4 featured games of the week. We are all over the place in week 1. Copley, not a whole lot of information this one from the Copley side, but Rob will talk more about this. Amherst gets their first win in over 2 seasons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And there's certainly plenty to talk about there. Cuyahoga Falls, unfortunately, we're not able to get much on track against Firestone. And with that, it was a 15-0 shutout. The Black Tigers unable to get on the board, but they fall to Firestone 15-0. Brecksville took the Brecksville Broadview Heights Bees. Took on the Talmadge Blue Devils, and this was a good win for Brecksville. Brecksville gets a 20-2 tilt over the Blue Devils. For Brecksville Broadview Heights, Colin Siebert threw for 191 yards and a touchdown. Running back Jacob Eterovich.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That's a tough one. Good effort. I'll give myself on that one. But he had 15 carries for 161 yards and a touchdown. And the Brecksville Bees win their cross-division matchup against Talmadge 20-2. The last game that I'll cover here before we get on to Rob will be the one of our featured games of the week. It was the champions of the Suburban League American Division taking on the champions of the Suburban League National Division. It was a highly anticipated matchup. Highland got the scoring going with a 65-yard touchdown run by sophomore Casey Miser. The ensuing kickoff, there's one thing that teams should not do. It's kick to Ian Ludewig. He took a 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown to tie the game at 7 with less than a minute off the clock. Both teams would score again in the second quarter, 14-14 at the half. The second half, all Hudson. Hudson had a dominant defense, and as we have seen over the last few years, more Ian Ludwig. He scored twice in the second half. He had 170 yards total off of 26 carries, 4 total touchdowns. Lucas Troutman and Nick Anamoroto would also have interceptions in the game. For Highland, the bright spot was sophomore running back Casey Miser. He had 132 yards on 18 carries, 2 touchdowns to boot. Highland would get its only score of the second half when Peyton Janikis ran it in from 10 yards out late in the fourth quarter. With that, Hudson gets a big victory to start the year. They go to 1-0. Highland drops to 0-1, 35-21. The national division will, at least on this day and this game, reign supreme over the American division. But what a great game that was to kick off one of the 4 games that we had to kick off there, Rob. So how about we move on to the rest of the division, and then that'll lead us into the Suburban League Player of the Week, and then we'll roll into the Southwestern Conference.
All right, so first off, it was Aurora taking on Twinsburg. Aurora, they were down 7-0 at the half. In the second half, the Greenman running back, Enzo Catania, scored from 3 yards out. He finished with 89 yards on 22 carries. It was Brandon Leapins scored the go-ahead touchdown for Aurora, and kicker Dom Trevisano added a 23-yard field goal to cap the victory. It was Aurora getting it looked like a pretty hard-fought win there. 17-7, Aurora gets the win at Twinsburg. So Twinsburg put up a fight, but Aurora gets the win there. Wadsworth taking on Barberton, and Barberton, always a tough place to play. Both teams, they combined for 27 penalties and for over 230 yards. That's crazy in that game. Wadsworth, they did not have a top 2 wide receiver, but they did score 4 unanswered touchdowns in this game, led by quarterback Will Stack. He was 4 of 9 for 30 yards and a touchdown, passing and rushing. He had 18 carries, 194 yards, and 4 touchdowns in this game. it was running back Kyle Figueroa. He added 121 yards on 21 carries and 2 scores in this game. For Barberton, Xavier Macon, only 19 rushing yards and 1 score in this game. So great defense by Wadsworth, holding a really talented running back at Barberton there. A wide receiver, Noah Dehart, 4 receptions, 90 yards in the game. It's Wadsworth getting their first victory, 49-18 over Barberton. Kent Roosevelt traveling to Ravenna, the 109th meeting between these two teams. Kent led by quarterback Jack Smith, 18 of 28, 331 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. He's a grandson of legendary Roosevelt coach John Nemec, who was there. So he's got some big shoes to fill and try to show everyone he can do it. And he put up some numbers. I mean, 331 and 3 TDs. Very good opening game for Jack Smith. Jaden Portis, Lincoln Wade, and Tenny Macaron all had a receiving touchdown for Roosevelt. The Rough Rider defense, they forced 4 turnovers in the victory. They win 28-20. They get their first win over Ravenna. North Royalton taking on Maple Heights, and this was a high-scoring affair. North Royalton was up 36-34 in the fourth of this back-and-forth game, but Cody Miller was able to break a 29-yard touchdown run to put the Bears up for good. Cody Miller had 2 touchdowns on the night, and Bears quarterback Joe Kinney added 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Joey Calarco and 1 to Luke Koporowski. So it was 43-34. North Royalton with a big win at Maple Heights. They are 1-0. Maple Heights 0-1 on the year. And that's for the Suburban League there. And, the National Division, the American Division. It's going to be a fun division, really, or a conference to watch, because they're going to be adding, obviously, a team next year. But these games, a lot of high-scoring games, but a great job in some of these games defensively.
Absolutely. And, a lot of crossover games, they usually have a scheduled crossover game, and it depends on what time of the year that comes in, especially with the odd number of teams in the National Division, at least for this year. Speaking of the National Division, the Suburban League Player of the Week nominee for our poll is none other than Ian Ludewig from Hudson. 26 carries, 170 yards, 3 touchdowns, and also a special teams touchdown, the 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Quickly, the American League, the American Division of the Suburban League, their schedule is up right now. Aurora travels to Riverside. Stowe travels to Barberton. Firestone takes on Copley. Cuyahoga Falls goes to Springfield. Highland travels to North Royalton. Kent Roosevelt goes to CVCA. Garfield goes to Revere. And Talmadge goes to Ellett. For the National Division, Maple Heights will travel to Brecksville. Hudson goes to North Canton to take on the Hoover Vikings. Berea, Mid Park, and Nordonia renew their matchup from last year. Again, Highland will take on North Royalton. Stowe and Barberton. Akron North goes to Twinsburg, and Worcester goes to Wadsworth. So great action from the Suburban League as always. But let's get to it. We got a lot to get to here, so let's go to Rob, who's going to handle the Southwest Conference for us.
All right, thanks, Ed. Appreciate that. And let me get there we go. As first in the Southwestern Conference in Week 1, we're going to start at Westlake, where the Middies took on the Demons, and the Middies, their offense was scoring in this. They racked up 337 yards of total offense behind quarterback Ethan Elbert and wide receiver Dior Jones. He's a transfer from Elyria. Jones, he had 5 catches, 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jones had touchdowns of 25 and 64 yards in the game. The problem for the Middies were turnovers, though. They had 5 turnovers in this game, 4 of them being interceptions. Elbert, the quarterback, he had 64 yards rushing on 1 play, but only 22 yards rushing for the Middies the rest of the way. Westlake's offense, they had 340 yards of total offense, so they put up some big numbers themselves. And Westlake, even though all the numbers would indicate the Middies getting a win, the Westlake Demons put up some offense, and they win 42-28 in this game. The Middies fall to 0-1, and Westlake gets their first win of the season. a tough place to play. Avon Lake, they hosted Strongsville. And the Mustangs, they held Avon Lake to 44 yards rushing in this game. It was running back Wade Nelson getting most of those yards. But you'd think Strongsville would win this game, especially holding an Avon Lake team to 44 yards rushing. Well, the Shoremen's defense stepped up, especially Luke Stewie. He had 2 interceptions and a big play as Alex Afolter threw a long pass. He's the quarterback for the Shoremen. He threw it to Stewie. And Stewie, you might have heard he got an offer from Virginia Tech, and he's showing why in these highlights here. On 42 yards, he had a pass that would set up a Jake Bova touchdown run and seal the deal there. Afolter also threw a touchdown pass to Carter Burke with 57 seconds left in the half, which was a big one. It was Afolter's first varsity start, and Avon Lake gets a 19-14 win over Strongsville. So a close game, and it went back and forth. Strongsville really held Avon Lake most of this game, but in the end, it was the Shoremen getting the 19-14 win. All right, Elyria against Cincinnati Princeton. They hosted Cincinnati Princeton, and Elyria, they got out to a fast start in the Coach Fox era on a big play. On the first play of the game, it was junior quarterback Justin Godbold. He threw a backwards pass to junior wide receiver Stephen Gilbert, who then hit Larico Baker as he sprinted 47 yards for a touchdown. Everyone was going crazy, but Princeton would outscore Elyria 41-0 the rest of the way, and costly penalties really set back the Pioneers in this one. But it was the first game of the season, so they have to really get discipline in the next game and try not to make those mistakes again. But we'll see how they respond next week. It was Cincinnati Princeton 41, Elyria 7. Brunswick traveling to Avon, and Avon's offense, they got off to a quick start with Nolan Good at quarterback. He really set the tone. He threw for 204 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground for him. Up front, the Eagles dominated, getting Cincinnati commit Jacorian Caffey going early. He ended with 121 yards on 2 touchdowns with only 15 carries. And it was Michigan commit Luke Hamilton off on the offensive line, really providing holes and really a good offensive line up front for Nolan Good, the quarterback. And Brunswick, they did have 1 score in this game, and it came on a quarterback, Ethan Roxandich, touchdown pass to Hayden Swarm that went for 52 yards in this game. Avon's second string scored as well, though, and you might be familiar with this last name. It was sophomore quarterback Blake Elder made his first varsity pass by finding Grant Barr on the first play for a touchdown. It was Avon winning big 49-7 in this one. Again, Avon beats Brunswick 49-7. Copley and Amherst. And this game was rather interesting. Copley, their offense was off to a quick start. They were leading 21-0 after the first quarter. Amherst, though, new head coach Tom Thome, he must have said something that really clicked with this Amherst team, because Amherst quarterback Cole Norris settled in and connected with wide receiver Eli Solak and twice with Tristan Young. And all of a sudden, the Comets trailed 21-19 after missing the extra point. The Comets didn't allow another point from Copley, and they went on to score 41 unanswered points in this game to get their first win of the season. And like Ed said before, their first win in a few years now. Congratulations to Coach Thome and the Amherst program. Big win there as Amherst wins 41-21. It was running back Junior Byers, J.R. Byers, rather, sorry about that, was a Player of the Week candidate for me. 38 rushes, 243 yards, 1 touchdown. It was Cole Norris, the quarterback, had 129 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. He also had 59 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. And how about the defense? They stepped up, especially Ashton Draga. He was a junior quarterback. He missed last year with a torn ACL. And he also had 8 tackles and 2 interceptions in this game. Again, the Comets win 41-21 over Copley. Cleveland Heights and Berea Mid-Park, I can help out with this one. Noah was at this game, so we'll talk about that when he goes over the game with Cleveland Heights. But Cleveland Heights just impressive overall, and it was Austin Clay, a BG commit for Berea Mid-Park. He had a big play of 83 yards for a touchdown there, and we'll go over the rest of the game when Noah goes over it, I'll contribute on that one and give you the score. So North Olmsted had a 7-0 lead on a block punt. They traveled to North Ridgeville here. A block punt they took to the end zone. They led 7-0, but the Rangers would respond by scoring the next 41 points, and another team scoring 41 unanswered here, which is crazy to me. Running back Zach Barnhart, he would score and tied it at 7, but North Olmsted, they stopped the Rangers on 4th and goal from close, but then they would turn the ball over. The Rangers would capitalize on a Cole Miller touchdown run, and from then on, Cole Miller connected with our guest coming up, Charlie Steinmetz, and North Ridgeville would run away with it 41-7 in this one. A big win for the Rangers. Wide receiver Charlie Steinmetz, 5 catches, 118 yards and a touchdown, 5 rushes for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he was my Southwestern Conference Player of the Week. And it was tough between him and J.R. Byers, who really had a great game for Solon. All right, going into the featured game here, and in Olmsted Falls, it was a packed house in Olmsted Falls. And if you want to see the highlights to this video, go to our YouTube page and subscribe, but you can see all the full highlights on our YouTube page. Solon received the ball, and really, in this game, Solon stepped back on their first series. The ball was tipped, and Olmsted Falls would take it almost to the end zone at the 4-yard line, but a penalty would set them back. But they would score, Olmsted Falls would, by running back Caleb Ellis would run it in. And again, the Bulldogs found themselves up big at half. It was 35-0. Running back Derek Neckar would have 98 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Jimmy Rossel, sorry, I had that pronunciation right there, and I just couldn't say it. Passed 7 of 8 for 107 yards and a touchdown. Also rushed for 37 on the ground and a touchdown. Trent Habernicki had 4 catches, 72 yards and a touchdown. And the Olmsted Falls defense getting a shutout against a good Solon team, as Solon couldn't get anything going in this one offensively. My SWC Ray Felton State Farm Player of the Week nominee is Charlie Steinmetz with 5 catches, 118 yards and a touchdown. 5 rushes, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Whew.
I know.
Breath there, Rob.
No kidding.
Lots of
I know, a lot of things going on. I'll tell you that.
Lots of action there, and we see the Southwest Conference really asserting some dominance, at least in week 1, over some of our competing conferences. I think for the most part, they went head to head and did some damage to most of the teams here. Avon Lake, a tough one against Stronsville.
Yeah.
How about Amherst? Amherst getting their first win in a few years. All due respect to Coach Fritz, he's a Brunswick guy. I know him. Hopefully everything's going well with him and what he's doing. But Coach Thome has a pedigree from Lakewood, and he certainly brought that in that mentality from competing with the Rangers in different leagues to the Southwestern Conference for sure. You have to think that was his presence and his steady hand, especially down 21-0.
Yeah, it's easy to fold and say, "Uh-oh, here we go again," and that's kind of what I was expecting. But a shocker there, to score 41 unanswered points, trailing 21-0. And I mean, I've never seen that by one team. We saw it by 2 teams this week, or actually 3 with Illyria, Cincinnati, Princeton. So kind of crazy to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of cross games here between the Southwestern Conference and our next conference.
Yep.
That's going to be covered now. Now going forward by Dr. Hoops himself, Noah Jacobson. He's going to take over here. Hey, before we get to Noah, what do you want to talk about week 2 here, Rob?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for week 2, Buckeye and Amherst are going to match up. Avon versus Canton McKinley in week 2. Avon Lake and Cleveland Benedictine. That's going to be a good one. Berea Mid-Park, Nodonia should be another good one. Illyrian Lorraine. Midview versus North Olmsted. Brunswick, Olmsted Falls. Valley Forge travels to North Ridgeville. So I think going to be some competitive games here in week 2.
A lot of border games too. A lot of like some of these teams that aren't in the same conference but are right next to each other. It's really cool to see a lot of those games happening. And I think as we have taught the coaches since the playoffs have expanded, that has afforded a lot of opportunities to play some teams that you may not normally want to play because you have a little bit more leeway there. And those are good games, especially the border games, because chances are the kids on both teams have probably played each other throughout youth sports throughout their entire careers leading up to that point. So really, really awesome to see these local rivalries that have either taken shape or have just continued throughout the season or throughout the years. So let's get to it. Dr. Hoops is taking over the Greater Cleveland Conference. He is the pride of Medina, and we are looking forward to seeing what we got for the Greater Cleveland Conference. Noah, take it away.
Well, thank you, Ed. And it's been a pretty kind of an up and down this week for week 1 in the GCC. We'll kind of start off with the Avon versus Brunswick game. And guys, this was no brainer for Avon. So coming into that game, quarterback Ethan Roxanich for Brunswick finished the game he was 6 of 9 for only 82 yards. And his one touchdown came in the fourth quarter when he found Hayden Swarm from 52 yards. He also did have 11 carries for 42 yards. But guys, at the end of the day, Avon was the better team. They had the better game plan on offense and defense. And then moving forward, we got Euclid against Austintown Fitch. Austintown Fitch started off the first quarter with a 13-0 run, and then they opened up an enormous 27-6 gap over Euclid at halftime. And then both of these teams came scoreless in the third quarter. The Falcons' train of momentum continued as they scored 13 points in the fourth quarter to take a 40-6 win. And then we'll go into our next game as Medina, the Bees, took on the Stone Monroe Falls from the Suburban League National Division. Quarterback Danny Starter finished that game with 32 of 48 passing with 420 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he also did have an interception. He had 9 carries for 82 yards, and he had a touchdown. They came on their opening drive. Wide receiver Austin Knowles had 9 catches for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Jack Wiljack had 6 catches for 112 yards. And what a way to start this season for Medina. And that was the 500th win for the Medina football program. So congratulations to them. And then moving forward, we got Shaker Heights took on Willoughby South. Cornell Beard and Abdullah Ahmed paced the way for the offense with 39 points, while Stephen Henderson and Trey McKnight, one of their big recruits for the Raiders, guided the defense, and Shaker Heights took the victory 39-26. And then in the next game, Menor took on Maslin Jackson. And guys, this was a pretty close game. Menor took a 3-0 lead in the first quarter, but Jackson scored a touchdown with 10 seconds left at halftime. But then Menor struck back as Sky Fox had a 3-yard touchdown run that gave Menor a 12-6 lead. And then Menor, Scotty Fox did it again. He found a touchdown pass that called around for 9 yards. It made it 20-7. And then Menor scored again. It was Jackson Farley on a screen pass from Scotty Fox for 6 yards and a touchdown. That made it 26-14. And then Jackson, they scored a touchdown with 46 seconds left. But in the end, Menor recovered on an onside kick to get the victory. And they won 26-21. And then moving forward to our next game, we got Olmsted Falls versus Solon. But in the end, Solon did not have a very much threat against the big powerhouse Southwestern Conference and Olmsted Falls. Olmsted Falls took a 14-0 lead in the first quarter, and then they took a 35-0 lead at halftime, and then neither squad scored in the rest of the game. So hopefully Solon bounce back in week 2. And then moving on to the next game, Strongsville Mustangs took on the Avon Lake Shoremen. It was a pretty close game in the first quarter as both offenses scored. It was 7-7 going into halftime. And then Avon jumped to a 13-7 bulge over Strongsville as the final quarter began. But Menor closed the gap with a 7-6 lead. But in the end, Avon Lake won 19-14. And then last but not least, one of my featured games of the week, the Cleveland Heights Tigers took on the Berean Mid Park Titans. And guys, this was a pretty good game in the first quarter. Cleveland Heights started the drive with a Amar Lake 1-yard touchdown on their opening drive. And then Berea Mid-Park's Madison Switzer found Austin Clay for 83 yards and a touchdown. And then they took a 2-point conversion lead. So Berea Mid-Park struck back, but Cleveland Heights, they blocked a punt from Berea Mid-Park. It was Albert Green who took it back for the touchdown. That made it 13-8. And then for Berea Mid-Park, Adriel Mendez scored a 3-yard touchdown. That made it 15-3. And then Cleveland Heights' Marquise Davis took a pick six for a touchdown off of Maddox Swisher. That made it 19-15. And then Cleveland Heights' Marquise Davis took a 61-yard touchdown. That made it 25-15. But the very next play, it was Austin Clay again, guys. He took a 95-yard kick return touchdown. That made it 25-21. But Marquise Davis took an 11-yard touchdown run as Cleveland Heights went into halftime 32-21. And then in the second half, it was all Cleveland Heights as Marquise Davis had a 4-yard touchdown run. And then he kind of took the night off in the fourth quarter. John Gordon had a pretty good second half for the Cleveland Heights Tigers. He took a 41-yard touchdown as Cleveland Heights won that game 46-21. Marquise Davis, one of our Player of the Week nominees in the Greater Cleveland Conference, he had 21 carries for 228 yards and 4 touchdowns, 3 on offense, 1 defense, which I mentioned with the pick six, and he also had 2 interceptions. The defense, it looked pretty good. They had 6 turnovers, 5 was interceptions. 2 of those were by Marquise Davis and 2 by Henry Pollard. Cleveland Heights had 335 rushing yards. And then quarterback Amar Lake threw only a couple passes, but it was just Bentley's the rushing game. And then, as I mentioned in the fourth quarter, when John Gordon had that touchdown, he had it 129 yards rushing. But in the end, guys, that was a pretty good game I featured for week one. And both of these teams had 67 points combined. That's a great way to start off week one.
Yeah, no doubt. Nice job, Noah. Great job there. And I was showing your video, so nice job on the video as well. Looked great. And a lot of highlights there.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, it was a pretty good week one game for me.
Yeah, I'll say it was a adding Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights come in from the Lake Erie League and immediately get wins from against a Willoughby South team in a very game Berea Mid Park squad. And when we talked to Coach Hicks from Cleveland Heights, he was very effusive in praise for his own for what they saw on offense. I mean, graduating an all-Ohio quarterback like Darian Fair is no small feat to replace. But he even said, he goes, "I have never seen this much speed on a field." And Coach Hunick basically said as much in the post game as well. Marquise Davis is, in his words, is a dude. And if I'm not mistaken, he's only a junior. I can't imagine what more is going to be in the hopper for him over the course of the season, and just how much of a problem he's going to be for teams going forward, Noah.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game, as Al mentioned the stats again. He had 21 carries for 228 yards and 4 touchdowns. He had a pick six, and he finished the game with 2 interceptions. And that's why Darian Fair is our GCC Player of the Week nominee.
Excellent. Good work there, Noah. And so why don't you talk about who the Greater Cleveland Conference is playing next week?
Yeah, and the Brunswick Blue Devils will travel on the road to take on another Southwestern Conference team, the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs. And then moving on to the next one, the Paramus Catholic team from New Jersey. They will travel to Cleveland Heights. And then the Erie High School team from Pennsylvania, they will travel to the Euclid to take on the Panthers. And then the Olentangy Braves will travel to Medina as they take on the Bees. And then St. Ignatius, they have a new head coach coming in as Coach Chuck Kyle. He had a great career for them last year. They take on the Menor Cardinals, led by head coach Matt Gray. And then the Solon Comets, led by head coach Brian Wisniewski, they take on again, they'll be heading into the Suburban League next year. They'll be taking on the Strongsville Mustangs. And then the Brush Arcs, they'll be taking on the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. So it should be a pretty good week one with a couple of good powerhouses teams as far as in the week two.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, the Greater Cleveland Conference is, just like all the other conferences we cover, it's going to be a grind. And the non-conference schedules, I think have been some significantly upgraded. Not a whole lot of teams want to play the Greater Cleveland Conference to begin with, but some of the powerhouse. It's really cool to see the powerhouses in these other conferences playing each other, which I'm a firm believer is a product of the expanded playoffs. So, I mean, Menard and St. Ignatius is a regional championship game all day long, anytime they want, anytime they play.
Yeah.
Solon and Strongsville, they've been playing each other for forever. Medina playing Olentangy. Olentangy is a good power down in the upper Columbus area. In Brunswick and Olmsted Falls, I mean, those two teams are teams that aren't, up until recently, really have stayed out of each other's ways. But they've matched up over the last few years, and it's been a really, really good thing to see develop over the years. So, Noah, great job. Well done on your first full set of recaps there, and we look forward to seeing what more you got as the season progresses for sure. All right, and that leaves last and certainly not least. Again, you're all watching the Sports on Tap high school football show presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. Make sure you give Gray a call at 234-284. Oh man, I had the number. I had it memorized. Hold on, I gotta do my cheat sheet here.
Yeah, that's okay.
234-284-5996. For more information, check out his website, rayfelton.com, to create a personalized quote. All right, changes are coming for the GLC. This is the last year, as we know, the GLC in its current form. Right now, there are 11 schools, with Parma closing. That dropped one school right from there. The next year, Fairview is moving on, and then to the Chagrin Valley Conference, and then the 8 remaining public schools are breaking off to form their own conference. The 2 parochial schools are going to head to the new North Coast Conference as well. So lots of changes, but we still have a very competitive GLC to talk about for 2023. Defending GLC champion and Division III Region 10 regional champions Holy Name started their season against their rival Padua in a rematch of the Division III Region 10 championship. Holy Name senior Andrew Cole did pass for 100 yards, rushed for another 74, but all of Holy Name's points came from the foot of junior kicker Chase Jazidi. He hit from 20, 29, and 38 yards out. Joey Ragone had a fumble recovery. Michael Torzidlo had an interception, but for this game, it was Padua. Roderick Love, more specifically, ran behind this big lineman. He got they scored 2 touchdowns in the second half. Padua avenges multiple defeats to Holy Name last year. They take the win 21-9. Elsewhere in the East Division, the Buckeye Bucks took on the Lodi Cloverleaf Colts. Buckeye junior Troy McCann, he rushed 18 times for 179 yards and a touchdown. Gage Nagy, he had 5 carries for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had a sack on defense. Sophomore kicker Braden Bonnet hit all 4 of his extra points, and he made field goals of 28 and 25 yards. Buckeye rushed for 388 yards total. They held Cloverleaf to just 88 yards rushing. Add it all up, Buckeye a 34-0 victory over Cloverleaf in this Medina County matchup. Staying in the East Division, Lakewood takes on John Marshall. Lakewood scored on a punt return and an interception return in the first quarter. The Rangers, it was all Rangers all the time here. They led 41-6 at the half, triggering the running clock. And with that, Coach Mike Plavasic gets a first win in his debut as a Lakewood coach. Lakewood takes this one 48-12 over John Marshall. Valley Forge took on Gilmore Academy, and Gilmore Academy took no prisoners here. They scored the first 35 points in the contest. Valley Forge was able to break the shutout in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately for Valley Forge, not enough. Gilmore defeats Valley Forge 35-6. Elyria Catholic took on Findlay Liberty Benton. These teams were tied 14-14 at one point, and then Liberty Benton put their foot on the pedal, scored 31 unanswered points. Junior Daryl Schumpert split time with Hector Garcia at quarterback for Elyria Catholic. He passed for 137 yards, and he added 20 on the ground, along with a touchdown. Senior running back Anthony D. Martinez rushed 9 times for 150 yards, and he also had an interception on defense, but it was not enough for Coach Chase Ferris and the Elyria Catholic Panthers. They fall to Liberty Benton 45-14. Again, we shifted over to the Western Division. I probably should have mentioned that at some point. Normandy and Lincoln West were scheduled to play. That game, unfortunately, got canceled. Back to the West Division, Fairview, and again, in their last season in the Great Lakes Conference, taking on the potential future foe in the Chagrin Valley Conference in Cuyahoga Heights. Quinn Bruder rushed for a 2-yard score in the second quarter for Fairview. They did pull within 21-13 by the end of the third quarter, but they were unable to catch the Red Wolves at Cuyahoga Heights. Heights pulls away for a 28-13 victory over Fairview. Tell you what, Cuyahoga Heights is a traditional power in the Division 6, Division 7 range. So lots of credit to Fairview here for hanging in there as well as they did. But that was a good game by Fairview. Just a little bit more firepower for the Red Wolves in the 28-13 victory for the Red Wolves. Westlake, as Rob mentioned earlier, took on Midview. And for Westlake, you mentioned it earlier, Rob, it was all about turnovers. Westlake scored 21 points off of those turnovers. One of those was a 52-yard pick six by Cooper Rommel. He also rushed for a 7-yard touchdown before the half. Senior running back Matt Porcelli rushed for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns. Add that all up, Westlake gets a 42-28 victory over Midview, in a very competitive game between the Southwest Conference and the Great Lakes Conference. Rob had already talked about the North Ridgeville and North Olmsted game. North Olmsted started out 7-0 lead. They forced a fumble, and they had the ball in Ranger territory. A real good chance to put themselves up by 2 scores. They weren't able to cash it in, and as Rob mentioned, it was all North Ridgeville from there. And we'll be talking with Charlie Steinmetz a little bit later on today about the game. North Ridgeville pulls away 41-7 over North Olmsted. Saturday, Bay took on Cleveland Central Catholic. Central Catholic did score the first 6 points. Bay followed with 42 unanswered points. They said hold my Gatorade to the other teams that scored 41 consecutive points and were able to pull away. According to the stats on Huddle, looks like Bay rushed for 254 and passed for another 81. If there are updated stats for Bay, please send them my way. I'd be more than happy to make sure we talk about the Bay Rockets because this was a really, really good win for Bay. 42-6, Bay gets the victory over Central Catholic. The last game that I'll talk about, and this was a shootout, Rocky River took on Painesville Harvey. Rocky River was chasing the majority of the first half, but once they took the lead, they did not look back. Senior quarterback Julian Patty, he completed 22 of 33 passes for 421 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Wow.
Chocolate milk for him for sure. One of his top targets was senior wide receiver Ryan Rickety. He caught 9 passes for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. But it was Nick DeSalvo, the senior running back. He rushed 21 times for 186 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Through the air, he caught 5 passes for 126 yards and another touchdown. Add it all up, 312 yards total offense, 4 touchdowns for Nick DeSalvo. And Rocky River pulls away from Painesville Harvey with a 55-42 victory. The player of the week for the Southwestern Conference, the player of the week presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. is senior running back Nick DeSalvo from Rocky River. Again, 21 rushes for 186 yards and 3 touchdowns, 5 receptions for 126 yards and another touchdown. So we will later in the show we will reveal the winners of the Player of the Week poll sponsored by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. So we're looking forward to seeing the results of that. A lot of good engagement so far from what we're talking about over the weekend. So we're really glad that folks are paying attention and make sure that we reward our student athletes accordingly. The Week 2 schedule for the East Division. Again, Buckeye will be traveling to Amherst, as mentioned earlier. Holy Name is going to take on future foe Lake Catholic. Clearview from Lorraine is going to take on Lakewood. Streetsboro is going to travel to Normandy. Normandy will have their first game of the year at that point. Valley Forge will take on what one would call a buzzsaw in North Ridgeville. And then to wrap up the East Division slate, for the West Division, Field travels to Bay Village. Columbia, in their stellar run game, is going to take on Fairview. Sandusky Perkins is going to travel to Elyria Catholic. That is one of the best non-conference rivalries you'll see in those divisions of football. Those games are very competitive all the time. Midview is going to take on North Olmsted. John Marshall will take on Rocky River, and Cleveland Rhodes will take on Westlake. And that's
nice work. Holy moly.
Like Sean would say, that is what is fit to print for all of our action in Week 1. Certainly a lot going on there. You can't. There's so many games and a lot to get to. So we appreciate all the media outlets. We've been able to try to find as much information as we can to make sure that we can broadcast that to the group there. So I know we are going to be joined here shortly by running back Ian Ludewig. Rob, if we're not ready for that, we can get a word from our sponsors if we so desire.
I think he's here. So yeah, I'll get him in, and if we have a chance at one point, we can always do that. But we will have the sponsors, and if you're out there, feel free to go and check out our sponsors, whether it's the website or their website, because a lot of them have great websites, and support our local sponsors. They make it happen here. So welcome, Ian. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Man,
what a game you had. Week 1 to start us off. Ed, you wanna get into it a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Ian, thanks for joining us tonight. You've had quite the career up to this point, and your senior season certainly started with a bang. Talk a little about that. Talk about the game. You're playing the opposite division defending champions in the Highland Hornets. Very competitive game. So talk about your role in the game and how your teammates were able to come up to step up to the challenge of Highland.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a good game, a very good opponent. Highland, they're very well coached. They have a lot of players on their team that are very good. So it was expected to be a good game coming in. And I think our guys really prevailed in that second half. We came out there, we were very resilient, and we just kept our foot on the gas, and we just kept going.
Ian, thank you for taking the time and joining us tonight. It felt like a lot of momentum changed for you guys when you scored a touchdown in the third quarter and you guys were up 21-14 heading into the fourth quarter. But it was tied up for you guys 14-14 going into halftime. Just kind of talk about what Coach Cole's message was at halftime and how it prevailed you guys to get the victory 35-21 over Highland.
Yeah, very fortunate to have Coach Goff. He believes in me and everybody else on the offense and defense to, just do your job. That's what he preaches most. Just do your job and it will come to you. And I think everybody in that second half just really did their job, stuck to it, put their head down, just went to work. And I think that's why we came out on top.
Ian, you had 170 yards and 26 carries, 4 touchdowns. And probably most notably, a 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. I have hard time believing this, but that was your first kickoff return for a touchdown at any level. How exciting was that?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Yeah, like you said, it was my first one ever. Never been a part of something like that. It was felt pretty cool, especially to get back out there and tie the game up like that.
So how did that even happen? You know, you haven't done it before, and did coach just come up to you and say, "Hey, Ian, what do you think about returning kicks, returning anything? You go out there, punts, whatever is necessary to get it done." Did you say, "Well, I've never done it, but what the heck"?
Yeah, I returned a little last year, but our special teams coach and a coordinator, Mr. Hildebrand, he's a great coach, and he put a great line. I mean, great like guys out there to get those blocks and that hole opened up, and all you gotta do is just hit that one cut and go.
And how about your offensive line? They really opened some holes for you against a Highland defense that has been pretty impressive, really, every single year. Your offensive line really seemed to dominate the line of scrimmage and give you those holes to have some big yardage and some big runs and ultimately scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, as a running back in this program just coming up, I think it's really great to like have such great like role models for young guys at the lineman position to look up to, like Tommy Ricard. And Tommy Ricard, he's really taken a lot of those guys under his wing, helped them out. We do have a very young line this year, but I think that second half they got their feet under them. They started getting those blocks, and they just started seeing everything so perfectly. And with a person like Tommy Ricard helping you out, you're going to be in good hands.
And
Absolutely.
No doubt there. So I mean, again, a great win over Highland. It certainly doesn't get any easier. You're gonna go to the Federal League country with North Canton Hoover. I know Coach probably just introduced you guys to him in film today. Without giving too much away, what are some of the things that you're looking for to get some success against the Vikings?
Yeah, we know they're going to be a great team. They're very hard nosed. They're just going to go out there, just work, and like I said before, we just got to go out there, do our job, do what Coach wants us to do, and I think we'll have success.
Now, football is you're obviously very good at football. We've seen that has been proven. I think you're even better at lacrosse. If I did my research right, you're going to Utah for lacrosse. Um,
Yes.
so,
Wow.
given how great of a football player you are, you must be an absolute monster in lacrosse. How long have you been playing lacrosse? And what was the path for choosing lacrosse in college instead of potentially football?
Yeah, my older brother, he's 5 years older than me. He always played lacrosse growing up. I got my first stick in my hand when I was about in third grade, and I just like fell in love with the sport. It was a great way for me and my brother to connect, obviously, and it just came very natural to me. Love just like empty my mind. It's great, like it's kind of like therapy to me.
Oh, I bet. Absolutely. Now, who's better though, you or your brother at lacrosse? That's he mentored you, and was he better? To make it hard on you, or are you the better brother here at lacrosse now? I mean, going to Utah is a big deal. I'm sure you probably obviously saw the campus, and it looks amazing from all the you watch it on college football. They show you all around the campus and stuff. That's a pretty big deal. So congratulations on that. But who's better, you or your brother now?
Uh, I don't know.
Is he in the room right next to you? That's
No,
the
he's not. That's a tough question for sure. Learned a lot of things from him. He also played running back at Hudson, so kind of like to mold my game after him. Take a lot of stuff from him, and he's been a great mentor to me, and yeah, just a good role model.
You're not going to answer that question, are you? You're going to stay.
Yeah,
You're gonna
That's
see
fair.
him probably soon, right?
That's
yeah.
fair.
No, very
That's
cool.
fair. Hey, Ian, what are you going to be studying out in Utah?
I'm not sure yet. I'm a big numbers guy. I like numbers a lot, so probably something like that involving numbers. But yeah, I'm not too sure yet.
That's pretty
You got
exciting and cool, though.
going to Utah, what was the one thing that you really enjoyed when you took a visit to Utah and you saw their lacrosse program?
Yeah, Utah was one of my last visits, and I was like, it's pretty far. I don't really know, but I got off that plane, stepped on campus, and I was just like, this is definitely the place for me. Just kind of get that gut feeling that you just like want to go here.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, great coaches, great facilities, great team too. A lot of freshmen showed me around. They gave me like a great experience, and I think that's what really like weighed heavy for my decision.
Very cool.
If I'm not mistaken, did your brother go to Air Force?
No, he played lacrosse at Robert Morris in Pittsburgh.
Okay. So you're really traveling out there.
Yeah.
So I'm sure your parents are gearing up for racking up the freaking flyer miles to come out and see you play.
Oh yeah, there definitely are.
Ian, we can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. We've been following Hudson for a long time, and your family to an extent, but we've been covering your brother for a while, and you as well. We can't. Good luck to you for the rest of the year. Stay healthy, and hopefully we'll catch up with you maybe before the end of the year, or maybe as you guys are going through the playoffs.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a great time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and taking time after your practice and everything. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks again, Ian.
Good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you.
That is Hudson running back and University of Utah lacrosse recruit Ian Ludewig joining us on the show here. Obviously a legacy. His brother was a very successful player as well for Hudson. But he's certainly carving his own path. He 4 touchdowns on the ground last week against Highland, and added a 5th through a kickoff return as well. So he does a little bit of everything. I also noticed I think he's number 8, so I'm a big fan of that. That was my number. I think Ian wears it better than I ever did. So really awesome job for Ian, and I know our next guest, if he's available, will be Charlie Steinmetz from North Ridgeville, tight end H-back combination. So we're looking forward to catching up with talking to him as well. North Ridgeville just absolutely demolished North Olmsted. So we're looking forward to hearing his thoughts about that as well. Rob, if we have a few, I don't know if he's in the room, if he's waiting or not, but it may not be a bad idea to get our sponsors.
Not yet. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, so we're gonna take a quick a couple second break to get through our sponsors, and then when we come back, we will have hopefully we'll have running back, H-back and tight end Charlie Steinmetz from North Ridgeville joining us here in the Sports on Tap High School Football Show presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance.
Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 10:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm. Are your auto insurance rates continuing to increase? Do you have a professional that you work with who can explain your coverage and assist in protecting your unique situation? If not, contact Raymond Felton State Farm for a free quote on your home, auto, renters, life, or business insurance needs. They are there to put the customer's needs first. Give them a call at 234-284-2996 or online at www.rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand-and-built leather goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design is a creative boutique specializing in original artwork, design, and apparel. With 4 locations in Lakewood, Avon, Willoughby, and Kent, you can visit their store and check out their collections including Cleveland sports teams, Ohio colleges, and much more. Use the code ONTAP10 for 10% off your order. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.
That's
Find out. All right,
All right.
welcome back to the Sports on Tap High School Football Show presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. Big thank you to all of our sponsors who you just saw and heard on the awesome voiceover that Rob did, who's got much more of a voice than I do for sure.
And actually, if you listen, Allison Troutman did the RRT production, so it wasn't just me.
Perfect.
She was very pumped to do that. I mean, she would have loved to do everybody else too, but I said I had to get it done
Right.
quick.
Make sure we hook her up with her favorite snack or
I know.
drink as well.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I believe we are joined by North Ridgeville tight end and H-back Charlie Steinmetz. Charlie, you there?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the camera to work. Hold on.
Yeah, no problem.
Take your time. As you're working through that, we want to say congratulations on a really a great victory over North Olmsted. You were very much involved in that in the victory there. About almost 200 yards total offense, 93 on the ground, 97 receiving. You had 3 touchdowns. So as you're working through the technological thing, talk about the game against North Ridgeville or against North Olmsted. Sorry, and talk about your performance and how your teammates performed.
Yeah, so hold on. It just says failed to start video, but the offense started off slow. And as the game got going, we just really started going, and the O-line did a really nice job of blocking, and so we could find those holes and just make plays.
Yeah, I know technology is a fun thing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We've learned over the years with Zoom and all this, but you never know what can happen. Right in the left it says the video. I don't know if it might be on your settings if you use the webcam on your.
I tried hitting that. It says
Okay.
something in settings.
That's all right. You're loud and clear at the very least.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
Yeah, so another building on the victory you guys had over North Olmsted last year. Even I think Coach Morgan mentioned this in a news article. I mean, kind of the turnaround that you guys have had. You started out hot last season, and it seems to be that's rolled over at least into the start for this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we just been working really hard in the off season. Came out, got a nice W. We're on the next week though, and we just gotta focus on that now.
Yeah, and it was interesting, especially with a lot of young talent on your team. Coach Morgan, we had him on the show, and he was really excited to talk about the young talent that he had. Zach Barnhart, I mean, that guy's an absolute monster. He takes a little pressure probably off you guys a little bit, but what a nice job offensively you guys have done. You guys got down. There was the block punt early on in the game. You guys trailed 7-0 and then scored 41 unanswered points. When you saw that kick get blocked or the punt that got blocked and scored for a touchdown, you guys didn't necessarily fold. You guys actually got right back. The momentum could have easily switched to North Olmsted, but you guys kept it together and scored 41 points. What's this team like compared to past years when maybe the guys would get down and not respond well to that?
Yeah, so I feel like in the past couple of years, if that happened to our team, we would get down and we wouldn't really be able to do much. We would just be thinking about that. But this past game, we were able to move past that and get better and just keep working hard as a team and just move on from it.
Charlie, thank you for taking the time and joining us tonight. it felt like there was a lot of momentum. I mean, it was 7-7 going into halftime, and then you guys wound up scoring 34 straight points. I mean, you score twice in the fourth quarter, and then just kind of talk about what coach's message was at halftime, and just kind of talk about how the offensive line performed. I mean, it looked like they did a really good job sitting an edge for you on the offensive side when you scored those 2 touchdowns. Just kind of talk about what was coach's message going into halftime, and talk about how the offensive line performed.
Yeah, so coach during halftime, we made some adjustments and stuff like that, but he also gave us like the courage and the advice and stuff that we can keep going and we can win this game. Also, the offensive line, they did a really nice job opening the holes, so we could see that and just run right through it. It was really nice.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of coaches we talked to a lot of coaches since June, and a lot of coaches had great things to say about this North Ridgeville team and what Coach Morgan and you guys and your work ethic are doing. I mean, give credit to the defense. They held a really good North Olmsted team to no points after the 7, and they didn't even give up the 7. So that's an impressive job there. How much fun are you having? You had an off season with Coach Morgan. You had him obviously last year, but what was the off season like? Prepping for week 1. I mean, it had to be exciting to get out there week 1 under the lights and finally play a team in the regular season. It's fun in scrimmages and traveling with the team, but what's it like playing in week 1 and getting ready?
Yeah, so it's a lot different from scrimmages and stuff like that. A lot more fun, a lot more competitive. You're able to just go out there, have fun, compete. And in the off season, there's a lot of workouts, a lot of like team bonding and stuff like that. We were just able to get better and prepare for week 1 in the whole season.
Charlie, one of the things that really sticks out to me is that you guys had a team breakfast right before the North Olmsted game, and just kind of talk about how the whole community has been getting together, and just kind of talk about the student section, how rowdy it was. It looked like a whiteout for you guys on Friday night. Just kind of talk about the whole community, how it's together, and just kind of about how rowdy the student section was for you guys.
Yeah, so the community is really helpful. They want to help with all team meals, do stuff like that. They're really encouraging. And also the student section, they show up to like every game with those themes and stuff like that. They're loud, they're exciting, and just really supportive for all of us, and we really like that.
Now, Charlie, you had a brother, I believe, play also for North Ridgeville, right?
Yeah, I did, at Steinmetz.
Yeah, because I remember, you're the second guest now that's had a brother, play the same sport, and we tried to ask Ian, who was better at lacrosse, him or his brother, and he wouldn't answer it. Now, would you answer who is better, you or your brother, Matt, or is it too early to say yet?
I think it's too early to say.
Or
he's a really nice supporter and stuff like that, though. He helps me a lot, and just, yeah.
Is he sitting next to you at this point in time?
No.
Well, tell him we said hi. I know he was a great player at North Ridgeville, and he also did very well when he played.
Okay, yeah.
We're talking with North Ridgeville tight end, H-back Charlie Steinmetz. Charlie, do you play any other sports?
I played basketball.
All right, Josh isn't here, but he would ask this question 10 times out of 10. Playing, if you had the chance to win the state championship, would you rather hit a game-winning 3-pointer or score a game-winning touchdown?
Oh, I would have to pick game-winning touchdown.
Okay.
Football is my passion.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
I wondered.
You guys in week 2, you guys faced Valley Forge, a team who you were familiar with last year. It was pretty close. I mean, it was 21-20, and you guys lost last year, but you guys faced them again this year. Just kind of talk about what changed for you guys last year and what are the keys to the game going into week 2.
Yeah, so they're like a very competitive team and stuff like that. They run a wing tee offense, which is really hard to defend, and the defense does a good job with that also. We just got to do our job, come into the game, and just go in there and compete, I guess.
Another home game for North Ridgeville here as Valley Forge travels North Ridgeville here to visit the Rangers. Charlie, we talked about kind of the linemen as a whole and the defense as a whole. Who are some of the players? Who are some of maybe the younger players that we don't really know about that are either contributing on varsity or that are pushing you guys in practice who could potentially see some time on Fridays?
Do you mean like current varsity?
Well, current varsity for sure, yeah.
Okay.
And maybe some folks who you think might be able to make some contributions on the varsity squad, maybe even later this year as the season progresses.
Yeah. So sophomore quarterback Cole Miller, he's new this year, and then also Zach Barnhart on the offense, but also the whole line and some defensive players like Carson Mattis, Shane Osborne, Austin DeShazo, Xavier Compton. They're all really good players. You have some good younger talent also. Upcoming like punter, kicker, Finley Keller. He's a good punter. He works hard.
Ed's gonna really like you because you're giving credit to the punter and the kicker, which you don't really talk about too much. And Ed was a kicker. He went to Mount Union. He kicked at Brunswick, and I could tell he wanted to smile there for a little bit.
Yeah.
He knows his audience. I appreciate that. Charlie, have you started looking at colleges? Yeah, or are you just kind of focusing on the football season and the basketball season coming up?
Yeah, I haven't really been able to look at any colleges. I've been to like Ohio University. My siblings go there, but I haven't been really looking into anything.
Very good. What's your favorite school subject?
I would probably go with math.
Oh wow!
Oh,
Another numbers
like
guy. Holy cow! Okay.
I like it. Fantastic. What math are you in right now? If you mind me asking, you in calc, pre-calc?
I'm gonna take pre-calc this year.
Oh geez.
Very good.
Math wasn't my thing. I'll tell you that right now.
Pre-calc's good.
That's impressive.
Good. I'll be honest with you. If you end up taking math in college, it actually gets easier. I don't understand why, but it does. So stick with that path as far as friendly advice from your neighborhood co-host. So Charlie, we can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your season and out of your schedule to join us, talk about yourself and also talk about the program. We'll definitely be following North Ridgeville over the course of the year, and I'll see if we can't catch up with you before the end of the year, or hopefully into the playoffs for you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Sorry about the camera. Try to figure it out.
Oh, that's all right. You can figure it out for the next time, and you might want to watch us on YouTube because you'll have to check out. You are my SWC Player of the Week, and you are up for the Ray Felton State Farm Player of the Week, which we get a nice little package if you win. So you might want to watch after this because we might have some news.
All right. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. Cough.
No problem.
Wink, wink.
Appreciate it, Charlie.
Thanks,
good luck
Charlie.
this season.
Thank you.
Stay healthy and good luck against Valley Forge.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that is North Ridgeville running tight end H-back Charlie Steinmetz joining us on the show. A very successful opening game for North Ridgeville with a huge victory over North Olmsted as we're progressing through the show. So we had two of the four Players of the Week nominees on our show. Let's get to it. Again, you can always.
I probably could have told them too, realistically. But,
I know.
But
I was
that's
thinking
okay.
the same thing.
You pretty much did.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I was laughing because we had a comment on Twitter, and I wasn't about to ask them this, but they said, "Hey, who would win in a matchup, Westlake versus North Ridgeville?" And I'm like, I'm not going to ask them that question.
No, they're not on the schedule. We can't prove that.
I know. Yeah.
Potentially, maybe the playoffs.
I'll tell you what, that would be an interesting game, though. I think that'd be a pretty good game, especially with the way Westlake came out in Week 1. Both teams looked very impressive. But I want to thank Ray Felton State Farm for supporting our Player of the Week. And people might not know, but what they are going, if you win Player of the Week this year, you get a $25 gift card at Chick-fil-A. And you get a Ray Felton State Farm little care package. I think he has a bunch of goodies in there, so we will send them to the school for whoever wins. And there might be some sports on tap. I'm not sure if we have stickers and different stuff in there as well. So enjoy lunch on Sports on Tap here with Chick-fil-A, and want to thank Ray Felton State Farm for supporting our high school football coverage. He loves high school sports, and can't thank him enough for supporting our show. And he wanted to get involved with the Player of the Week this year, so players can enjoy a little bit of something. There'll be a certificate and a letter also in the package, so it'll be a nice little care package for the winner of the Player of the Week.
And let's recap our Player of the Week nominees for this week. For the Greater Cleveland Conference, it was Marquise Davis from Cleveland Heights. I have a feeling we might be seeing his name a few times this year on that poll. For the Great Lakes Conference, it was running back Nick DeSalvo from Rocky River. For the Suburban League, it was Ian Ludewig, running back from Hudson. And from the Southwestern Conference, it was our just most recent guest, Charlie Steinmetz, tight end from North Ridgeville. Rob, if you haven't already done so, pop up the winners and let's see the percentages.
Yeah, there it is right there. Ian Ludwig of Hudson at 17.9%. Marquise Davis, 16.5%. Nick DeSalvo, 30.2%. And the winner, 842 votes, almost 16,000 views on this poll. To show you kind of how good this poll is. 35.4% went to Charlie Steinmetz, the winner and Player of the Week in our conferences. He is the Ray Felton State Farm Player of the Week. Charlie Steinmetz of North Ridgeville with 35.4% of the vote. Nick DeSalvo close to 30.2%. I think those two went back and forth near the end there. But 842 votes. Thanks everyone for voting. And in this, before, I guess, we usually posted, I can't remember. Did we post it Saturday or Sunday? I think it's Sunday. So
we posted on Sunday.
So if there's people out there that do have accurate stats of players from our conferences, you can send them to sportsontappodcast@gmail.com, and we can obviously consider those players for a Player of the Week. There's some players out there that we might not have stats for. We don't get necessarily a lot of stats from all of the schools. I know I reached out to some schools and got some great stats this last week, but it always helps to have, I think we had a few people put stats in the Player of the Week, and by that point we already had, the Player of the Week. But if you get him to a Saturday or Friday night or whatever, send them to sportsontappodcast@gmail.com, and we can consider those players and at least have some accurate stats that way.
Tell you what, a great start though. Over 800 votes for week one. So I can't wait to see what the following weeks come to us, especially as the stats are going to get higher. We do try to have a wide variety of players that are represented. There will be some repeats because you can't ignore greatness. Again, without spoiling it, I'm pretty sure Marquise Davis may pop up on here once or twice because he's obviously an impressive player. Anyone who joined us and who earned a week one could potentially earn weeks 2 through 16.
True.
Or 2 through 10, I guess. But we try to spread the love, and the more stats that we can obtain, the better. Because we're here.
Absolutely.
We're here for the conferences. We're here for the schools, and we're here for the student athletes.
Yep.
So with that, we had 4 featured games of the week for week one. Right now, we have 2 on the books, potentially more, but you have to find out if we do have more at sportsontappodcast.com. And make sure you also follow us on Twitter at SOT Podcasts to find out the latest information about what's going on, what Sports on Tap is doing. You're going to get schedules, standings, scores, highlights, wherever we're at. We'll be on sportsontappodcast.com. So where are we going next week so far, guys?
No, you want to start us off?
Sure, Rob. I'll be heading back to my alma mater, Medina, as the Air Bees, who you haven't really talked about the Air Bees a lot, as
The
they will host the
bees.
Los Angeles Braves, guys. This is going to be a great matchup, and I kind of want to dive into the quarterbacks a little bit. First, I want to start off with Olentangy. Ethan Grunkmeyer, the Olentangy quarterback, he's had a pretty good start to the year. I mean, they started off 1-0 in the win, and then in the off season, he committed to Penn State University,
Oh,
where
wow.
hopefully he will be the backup to the 2021 Mr. Football out of Ohio, Drew Aller, who will be starting this year at Penn State. So, yeah, that is a pretty good quarterback for uh only tangibly. And then for Medina, there's not too many quarterbacks. I mean, you got Drew Aller who has at Penn State, but Danny Stoddard, I mean, a man who led the whole United States last year in passing yards, which is crazy than
Really?
that.
Oh, that's
Yep,
interesting. I didn't know that stat.
crazy.
You
And
dug
then he
deep for
had
that
a
one. I
great
didn't
year
see
last
that.
year in that.
Nice.
He had a crazy year last year for Medina and that. But yeah, he had a great start to week one against Stowe. And yeah, this should be a pretty good matchup against Stolen Tangente. I mean, it's a powerhouse team from Comas like that. If you want competition like Medina, this is the game you want to do.
Absolutely.
Very good. And where else are we going?
Well, I'm going to head to Amherst, and I want to see this Amherst team under Coach Thome. I think that they played a great first game. Buckeye is a tough team. That's some pretty big competition, but I think it could be a really good game. Amherst is a tough place to play. It's going to be a lot of fun. Amherst always has great atmosphere there. Their crowd is always impressive, and it's a great place to watch a football game. So I'm excited to watch Buckeye take on Amherst there. So kind of a Great Lakes Southwestern Conference matchup there.
And Coach Stone does have experience going against Buckeye. So you can't. I don't think you can discount that. He was obviously able to push the right buttons against Copley. Going up against Coach Dennison, a Medina County legend. Over almost about 20 seasons of Wadsworth. This is his 7th already at Buckeye. It's hard to believe.
That's crazy.
But he's just continued the success that Buckeye has had. Even from Coach Pinzoni and his predecessors before that, Buckeye's been, they've been a powerhouse, and they've won. They've won in most of the conferences they've been in recently. They joined the Great Lakes Conference, and I think they won it right away, or if not, they were very competitive. And I would expect the same this year, and even years further, with the formation of a new conference with all the public schools that are currently in the GLC. Two great games. Again, you're gonna get the best coverage. Live, up-to-date stats and highlights will be on our Twitter at SOT Podcast, and then you'll get recaps at sportsontappodcast.com. And of course, every single Monday through the football season, starting at 7:30 right here on our YouTube channel, it'll be the Sports on Tap High School Football Show, brought to you by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. You're gonna get all the recaps from the Greater Cleveland Conference, the Great Lakes Conference, the Suburban League, and the Southwest Conference. I believe we have hit all the notes here. Let me.
We sure have.
No, I think we got everything. So,
man, a lot of people watched tonight. So want to thank everyone for watching and contributing to the show. Whether you have a question on YouTube or, like I said, if you want to contribute with stats, send them to sportsontap podcast.com or at gmail.com. And here I'll put it on the screen for you so you can that's our website, but just put at gmail.com right there, and you can send us all kinds of stats per team. And if you have video, if you're at some of these games on Twitter, all you have to do is hashtag SOT, and with that hashtag we can see different video or photos if you have it, or updates. I know we had a guy from Brecksville actually send us an update from that game last week, so I want to thank him for sending us that update, and we're able to keep track of that game. So a lot of fun on Friday night, and we'll continue it here in week 2.
All right, with that, for for Josh Jeffy and Sean Duffy are currently out on assignment. For Dr. Hoops himself, Noah Jacobson, and the technical director, the man with the plan, Rob Troutman, you have watched the Sports on Tap high school football show presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. My name is Ed Dick. Stick around to get a word from our sponsors, and we will see you on the other side.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm. Are your auto insurance rates continuing to increase? Do you have a professional that you work with who can explain your coverage and assist in protecting your unique situation? If not, contact Raymond Felton State Farm for a free quote on your home, auto, renters, life, or business insurance needs. They are there to put the customer's needs first. Give them a call at 234-284-2996 or online at www.rayfelton.com.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand-and-built leather goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design is a creative boutique specializing in original artwork, design, and apparel. With 4 locations in Lakewood, Avon, Willoughby, and Kent, you can visit their store and check out their collections including Cleveland sports teams, Ohio colleges, and much more. Use the code ONTAP10 for 10% off your order. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.
Oh, yeah.